this, you'll notice that we are wearing different clothes, and that is because this is our second take at doing the second part of the Next Wave breakdown. Somebody, me, accidentally, I think, deleted our old, but that just means we have more experience when talking about the second half. So,
That's
once
right.
again,
That's
you're
right.
you're stuck with me, Jordan Obiescus, and Thomas.
Yeah, me, Thomas, otherwise known as Diomedes. Yeah, I think it's superior, that we get to do this again. As you say, we're more experienced, wiser, more intelligent, better in every way, and we understand Infinite much more now than we did before.
Okay, so let's pick off where we left off. Jump right in the heavy infantry, starting with appropriately the man, the myth, the legend, Achilles. He hasn't really. If you've dealt with Achilles in the past, he's the same. Um, well, if you dealt with him in N5, he's the same, except for the fact that he dropped what, like 10 points, I think,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah,
lot. Um,
yeah. This was a big headline from this faction. It was like, oh, he's so much cheaper. But as we talked already, like it's quite an expensive faction in general. So it's and you still might struggle to fit him in if you want to get loads of other things in as well.
yeah, realistically, I think the points change is really good for him. If it wasn't for the points change, I don't think you'd see him. But you definitely can put him into lists. You need to decide I'm putting Achilles into this list pretty early on. Um, the other big thing with him in this faction is this is the first time he can ever like really link, which is
Mm.
pretty easy to get him a special die. If you want to try and get him up to BS 16, you can. It's just gonna cost you the vast majority of your list bringing a pure Achilles link. Um,
Yeah.
although actually, technically speaking, since Achilles goes into every single fire team except for the heavies and the control fire team, you could, if you really wanted, bring a Harbinger fire team or a Shadow fire team and bring Achilles and just four Harbingers if you really wanted to get just if you're just like, do you want, I just want to be a 16.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to do that because he kind of leaves them behind. He starts already 4 inches forward and just runs at them, but he's cool. There's some different lists, different forms I've seen floating around, and I've tried out. With like Achilles with a specialist kind of just tacked onto him. Achilles and Drakios are like which is a nice. If Achilles has mimetism, he likes fighting non-MSV guys. If you have to run past an MSV guy, Drakios kind of jumps in. So things like that,
Yeah.
or just Achilles with Patroclus, the classic best friends duo, or things like that. Pandora. So he's cool. I don't think there's much to say
Yeah.
about him. I think we can move on.
Yeah. Classic S2 tag.
Yeah,
Yeah. What more do you need?
yeah, exactly. Um, Ironside. So this is the uh, it's basic. It's the non-character HI for this faction. They're pretty cool. Like when you first look at their basic stat lines, they're pretty, I'd say, standard HI, nothing special.
Yeah.
Right, they're basic, just like pure raw stats of 6'2 move, CC 17, BS 13, only fist 12, whip 13, arm 3, BTS 6, standard 2 Vita, 2 structure, or 2 silhouette. I'm
Yeah.
very, I'm just woken up uh, for this recording, if you tell the difference. Where they start becoming more interesting is in their skills, where they have albedo -3 and PS attack -3. So, -3 against most guys, -6 against MSV guys that aren't Warhorse. Then they have combat instincts, which we see a lot in this faction. I don't know what's
Mm.
happening on this planet. It must be a dangerous planet where all these people are developing. They're like, no, we need to be on edge all the time. We can't
Yeah.
trust anything. It's all the Shazvasti that might infiltrate, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. The
uh,
looming Morat. That's just like, oh, that. I know we're on the same side now, but I do not trust you.
yeah, religious, and then Takware and Techno-Organic. So it's pretty solid. Like Takware is always nice. It's just an extra order is always good to have. And then they kind of have four profiles, and then one of them has a lieutenant version of it. Um, that are kind of they're all a bit interesting. I know you like these guys a lot. There's an APHMG with a light flamethrower. There's a multi-rifle light flamethrower with disco baller, and you can have that as a lieutenant. You can have a killer hacker with SMG and emitter, uh, or there's also a heavy rocket launcher with EM carbine, and they all kind of range from 34 for the killer hacker up to 44 for that APHMG. They also all have Cobra pistols, which is cool, but it's not like they're good at CC, so I don't think
No.
the Cobra pistol's really that big of a deal for them.
Yeah. Strange inclusion, the Cobra pistol. In general, I would say it's such an odd little thing, but yeah, I really like them. I think that that combination of albedo and BS attack -3, I think is nice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the attack aware specifically. So if you as we'll get onto later with lists, I have a pure duo of Ironsides in my list, and I think that's that's just for me that's where the juice is. Like it's expensive, but you've also got four orders that I was like natively with that duo. They've all they're good at shooting, fast. You push a button, all those kinds of things. I think yeah, the headlines are of course all the characters, but for me the Ironsides are pretty cool. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool.
And they pair nicely with, when you have a bunch of mimetism guys in the faction, having these guys that punish the MSV is nice.
Mm,
The techno-organic's cool too. Means you can heal them with an engineer. Um, they are they do have cubes, so you are losing out on the ability to reroll. But in a pinch, if you either didn't have the points for a doctor or for Pandora to have medkits, and you just have the gearhead, then you can still heal them, which is just nice. It's handy.
mm.
Okay, Kazuraba Ruby Monday. This profile annoys me um,
Why?
because, well, for the same reason as our first recording, which the listeners didn't hear,
Yeah.
but it is still the same problem, which is anyone using the phone app might have realized that if you open a
Oh yeah.
faction that has her in it, it takes like a minute for it to actually load her image, which causes the app to like freeze until her image loads. And as
Yeah.
somebody that, you go to the washing, you want to quickly pull out Army, fiddle around with a list. By the time it loads now, you need to get back to work. So hopefully they fix it.
Uh,
Like her
I
logo's
actually, I
cool, but
actually super agree. Yeah, I because
uh,
I play OSS, so I'm in there all the time, and yeah,
yeah.
I'd forgotten that little wrinkle. It is annoying. Cool,
Um,
cool profile though.
she is. I don't think she really has a place in Next Wave. Kind of go with her. So one of the main reasons she is a regular. And Next Wave already has a bunch of irregulars. Now, you have Fireteam Masters that cancel out some of them, so you can afford a few more irregulars if you're bringing those Fireteam Masters. But the danger is, and I've found in some games, someone accidentally, picks off that Fireteam Master. Now suddenly you start your next turn, and it almost feels like you're in Lost Lieutenant because you now have just a sea of irregulars. So, but she's cool. She's a 6-2 move. She's HI, but she's immune to Immobilize B. She is BS 12, Fizz 12, with Arm 3, BTS 6, 2 structure, and Silhouette 2. And then she has this cool kind of like list of skills. She's kind of like a HI Sasha. She is booty, she's BS Tech plus burst, she's climbing plus, she's dodge plus 3. She has that techno organic, and she is a specialist with train total. Weapon wise, she kind of starts with nothing in terms of like real weapons, and then you just hope to roll a booty, roll up a multi rifle or something because she's got an adhesive launcher rifle, so that's a burst 3 adhesive launcher, a flash pulse, and EM grenades, and then a stun pistol, and she comes in at 19 points. So she's interesting. I don't think you find space for her next wave. She's a bit too expensive for like an irregular to tack on, but I think there could be other factions where she could pop up because she's in Shinden Butai, you said OSS, Corregidor, and
And
Kestrel.
Kestrel,
So,
because Kestrel needed more, uh, more stuff. Yeah, I've had her in some lists for OSS, and I mean, she's got a lot of good attributes. So I think it's a really nice profile. But to your point, there are better value. And then I would say that bespeaks the quality of Next Wave's irregulars, that there are better value irregulars
mm-hmm.
than her. because I do think she's got super value. I know there's no deadly weapons, but an adhesive launcher rifle is not nothing. Same with the EM grenades; they are significant threats to a lot of things. But yeah, not in next wave as far as I'm concerned.
No. Okay. Finally, Achilles' best super good friend, Patroclus, Team Achilles' shadow. Um, this guy is a bit of a weird HI in that let's jump to it immediately. He's NWI. He's one wound NWI, but no shock immune, which feels very weird on an HI.
Yeah,
I think he might be the only one that still has that as an HI. I kind of wish they just when they took away shock immunity. I get why they did, but I wish they just kind of switched him to medium infantry. I only can
yeah.
assume his model that they've already sculpted probably or planned out is heavily armored, so they didn't. But
I suppose he'll
he's
look something like Achilles in
yeah,
terms of
with a
armor
bit
and
less
stuff.
armor. Because looking
Yeah.
through his stats, he's still 6'4 move, CC 22, BS 13, Fizz 13, Whip 13, and then he's only arm 2. He has the nano screen, but still Achilles is that arm 3, so he's a bit heavier armored. It's arm 2, BTS 6. Um, that one Vita and the 2 Silhouette. The arm 2 is bolstered by him having nano screen, so he's usually arm 5 except against marksman, as I learned in a game where I brought him and forgot that marksman did work against nano screen, which was to Patroclus immediately exploding. Um, do not fight a bolt sniper with him. That was just me not realizing that the odds were very much not in my favor. Um, he just failed both his saves. Um, Then we have his Hollow Mask, so you can kind of do some cheeky things. In that game for me, I hit him as Achilles. So my opponent was really afraid to kind of push up on one side because he thought there was an Achilles in a fire team hanging out there.
Mm.
Um, Turns out it wasn't Achilles; it was a much less scary guy. But sometimes you can pretend what they are, which is cool.
Did
And then
you
he
did you
is
find that in that situation then that once they realized, well, I suppose you pushed with Achilles and did he die in ARO? 'Cause then I always find I play Capucalchi as well, who has a lot of Holomask stuff. And the thing about Holomask units is they're often not that deadly. Patroclus is quite deadly, but he's obviously not Achilles. So
mhm.
then I find that my opponents will often go, "Oh well, I'll just push into this anyway and see what happens." And of course, then the unit folds because they're not the thing they appear to be. Um,
No, he
I,
he
I was just,
he he didn't he didn't want to push into Achilles, what he thought was Achilles. There were there was kind of squishier areas for him to push towards, also more mission important areas for him to push towards. So it was kind of
okay,
like that little bit of turn. So it kind of worked. The thing with Hollow Mask, especially when you play with locals, is you need to kind of keep people on their feet and mix it up every so often.
yeah,
Occasionally, don't
definitely,
bring Patroclus, do put Achilles. So when you keep putting Patroclus as Achilles, that's the thing with Hollow Mask. Hollow Mask at hidden deployment. It's like a long game with your locals where you need to, you know, you don't always bring a Noctifer, but you need to bring it enough times that your opponents
yeah,
do worry that it's there. But back to
definitely,
Patroclus. So he has two kind of profiles. His four fire team profiles, and he has his two hollow projector profiles. Um, and then you'll see throughout his profiles, it's kind of, you know, he'll have a multi-marksman profile with pulsar and smoke grenades, and then he has a heavy rocket launcher profile with uh, pulsar and smoke grenades. I'm not a big fan of the hull projector versions, the multi-marksman, and the neither his attack guns don't have any extra burst that we'll see in the heavy rockets later on. And he's really at that point like not doing too much. He's running around by himself. He is a specialist. Um, but I just don't see the holo projector really making lists, especially because in his skills, to kind of gloss over, he does have Fire Team Master. So I feel like if you're investing the points into him, you want to be using him to make some of those good irregulars like Rain Dancers and
yeah.
Steel Jaws into regular. So moving to the Fire Team profiles, he has two multi-marksman profiles, one for 35 and then one that's a chain of command for 40. And both of these come with medkits. All of his profiles come with smoke grenades, which is a big deal. And then there's two heavy rocket launcher profiles, one for 31, one for 36. Interestingly, the 36.1, which is the chain of command version. Actually gives you a half SWC refund. The 31.1 is 1.5 SWC. The 36 with chain of command is actually only 1 SWC. And these heavy rocket launchers both have plus burst, which is a big deal for the rocket launcher because a 3 burst heavy rocket launcher is where it starts, I think, really kind of picking up.
Oh
And
yeah.
then also those smoke grenades, because now in the fire team he's throwing 3 dice to chuck one smoke grenade. He has
Yeah.
probably some of the better odds in the game to actually get smoked down.
Yeah. I mean, Fizz 13 is very, very solid for that. Like you're getting close to the highest level of. I mean, I think the highest Fizz I've seen for smoke grenade. I mean, especially you've got things like McMurrah, but like 14 is like really peaking for most units.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 13 is really solid as well. So very good.
Yeah, 13 with 2 dice is better than 14 with one. So he's also of note. He is the only smoke in your faction. Um, we didn't mention it with the Ironsides. They're the only disco ball, and those are the only two sites forms of vision control in your faction. So it is something that Next Wave struggles with. But
Yeah.
he's interesting. Yeah, he's cool.
I feel like this profile more than any of the others really leans into the lore aspects of the character. Like obviously we know who Patroclus is in the myth and also in the context of Infinity. He's this, he's Achilles' best friend. And I think like getting the discount for chain of command sort of feels like it's sort of pushing you towards, yeah, have Achilles and have Patroclus. Giving him the forward deployment +4 with the holo projector ones, that's like that's when you might run Patroclus by himself and pretend, because just like Achilles, he has a forward deployment 4, you can pretend he's Achilles running solo and kind of
Mm-hmm.
use those kinds of the kind of the myth and the story element in your game and kind of tie those things together in quite an acute way. I agree the profiles are not like setting my world alight. I do like Holo Projector, but I've used it a lot in Capitalki, so I'm sort of comfortable with it and I enjoy it. Um, but
Yeah.
he's a lot of points. Even if you went for the multi marksman rifle, 43 points. If you're using him as a ploy to pretend he's Achilles, that's a lot of points for like just a
I'm
pretend
also
piece.
I'm not sure why the multi marksman is so much more expensive because
Mm,
it's 8 points more expensive on the holo projector profiles, but on the non holo projector profiles, it's only 4 points more expensive,
yeah, yeah, I don't
which
know.
is
That's
weird
strange.
because the rockets in the other profiles gain um, BSec plus burst. So
Mm,
it's interesting.
yeah,
The reason he's not shock immune is so Hector can walk up with his heavy pistol and just one shot him with his
yeah.
bullet.
The lack of shock immunity, I really feel that's like you want him to die. It's almost like they need to give Achilles a special rule that's like super frenzy when Patroclus dies. That
Yeah,
gives him some
frenzy,
extra juice.
bracket Patroclus dead.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That would be funny. Okay, so that's the HI, and we can be on to my favorite model. Uh, he is done and painted. There's a painting video that
Nice,
actually is up, should be up now on our channel.
awesome.
Of me painting the Juggernaut that Course Billy was kind enough to send us. Uh, this is an interesting tag. Aside from the model looking really cool and being very unique in that it's like space cavalry,
Yeah,
the
it's a
Lion
literal beast
Riders.
in every sense of the word. Great.
Um, the profile itself is kind of cool. So let's go through it. So it's 8-2 move, which is the first, very fast. CC 22, BS 14, Fizz 15, Whip 13, Arm 8, BTS 6, 3 structure, and Silhouette 7. So it's, aside from the move 8 2 and the high CC, it's a pretty standard, like, big main battle line tag, a nice heavy armor
Yeah,
one. It has ECM guidance -8, like a Zeta, that weird -8 that's still. I
yeah,
honestly believe it originally was a mistake, and then they're like, no, no, this is funny. Let's just keep it. And then for this guy, they're like, yeah,
yeah,
let's bring it back. He's kind of like a Zeta, because as we'll see in the skills, along with Tack Aware and BS Stack SR-1, the standard tag things, he has CC attack plus burst, but he also has climbing plus like a Zeta. Then he has Dodge Fizz 12, Gizmo Kit Fizz 12, Med Kit Fizz 12, because he is techno organic, so you can heal him with either. He's remote presence, attack aware, and he has guard. So his close in defense is not a flamethrower; it is the kitty cat jumping out and clawing you, um,
Yeah. Or maybe the rider jumping off and, and
or
stabbing
the
them.
or the rider jumping off and punching you. Do you
Yeah.
want to just talk through the profiles?
Yeah, of course. I think well, you've got three for starters. Um, the top one, which is really interesting, and the most expensive one, is a plasma rifle plus one burst and high heavy rocket launcher with his little style drawn remote ancillary unit, heavy pistol, and a DACCV CCW rather PS equals 4. That's 82 points and 1.5 SWC. Um, nice profile. uh, the sort of range questions around that when you compare it to the other ones and burst questions, because the other follow-ups are a lieutenant and an NCO profile, both of which have the same loadouts, multi HMG, Staldron again, a heavy pistol, and a DA CCW. The NCO is the more expensive, 81 points, and the lieutenant at 78, both on 1.5 SWC. So they, pretty standard to some degree, tag loadout, with the multi HMG. It's, reliable. You know what you're getting with that. I think the interesting one is a plasma rifle. I'm still not 100% sold on it as a concept, but yeah, they're all good. It just depends how you want to build your list and what your priorities are, I think.
I'm just pulling him the model up. Boom, there he is, right beside our faces. Um, yeah, I think realistically, the NCO or the lieutenant are probably, if you're going to bring this guy, they're the they're the smart choices. It's
Mm.
kind of like a Zeta, being able to just kind of use that climb plus to get up on buildings and do good long range plunging fire into people. Definitely the smarter choices. Plasma
Yeah,
rifle is definitely the more fun choice. It's essentially a plasma Spitfire, with slightly shorter ranges.
yeah,
Um, and he has the rocket to kind of help him get in. It's not high burst, but it can kind of help get his way in. He's fast enough. Like realistically, with 8-2 move, you can pretty much you're only going to have like one round of shots probably with the rocket before you've been able to close into that 16 with the
yeah,
plasma. And the game I've gotten in with him with the plasma, it was just brutal. That
yeah,
much for BS14 plasma shots is just disgusting. And also then, if there's
yeah.
something that he doesn't want, he doesn't want to fight a Mim 6 guy in that
No,
range, but you can also just sneak up and be like, cool, what are you gonna do? Uh, oh, you're gonna shoot me? Cool. I'll do two CC22, DA
yeah,
attacks onto you.
yeah.
So he's
That is
good.
the good thing about the plasma rifle. I mean, you've got a heavy pistol anyway, but I think the fork of plasma rifle or CC is totally brutal. Like there's really you might think, oh, maybe I'll survive the heavy pistol, but you have absolutely no chance with either of those, I feel.
I have no idea. Well, I guess it's because it's on all the profiles. For the plasma rifle profile, like they really didn't need to give him they could just take away his pistol completely and
Mm.
uh, shave a point off of him, and I think it
Yeah,
would be fine because you never use the heavy pistol when you have a plasma rifle.
no.
So, but that's him. I think the main thing in next wave is he's expensive, and it's a choice to be I'm running a tag list. I'm going to need to build around that rather than I'm going to put this tag in my list and then see what I'm,
Oh,
you know,
very much so.
halfway
I
through
mean,
the list building. You start with him and then you build out from there.
oh, absolutely, yeah. It is very much a build around unit, and but it's very good for it. I mean, I like the Zeta, like any top tier tag, like a Marut or something. They're taking up the best part of a third of your list. Um, you can't really accommodate that and still have a full suite of other tools that you might want. But I'm taking this tag, I'm going to do tag things with it, and then maybe win the game after.
Yeah, and unlike the Zeta, he actually still has his tack aware, which is good.
Mm.
Let me just make him disappear. He's gone. And moving on to the remotes. I don't think we need to go through really all the standard remotes. Just point out how many, I guess. They get two Edrons, they get two Icadrons, the new, more expensive Icadrons. But I will say, in my games. Dogged has mattered a number of times,
Oh,
where
yeah.
I've just had these guys kind of forward. I had was a critical intervention. I paid to put Nicotron in the room because I was also hiding a puzzler in the room, and the dogged
Yeah, okay.
ended up, cost my opponent a full extra order of needing to deal with the guy just being a repeater. So it's handy.
Yeah, of course.
Would I prefer them
Yeah.
being 9 points? Yes, but I think they're still
Yeah.
good. They gained something for it that is meaningful. Um,
Yeah. I think you've got to, I mean, it is annoying that, so many people have complained like, oh, my lists are now invalid. But you've got to at least try and look on the bright side, which is like Dogged is all upside as far as the Nicodron Bactroid is concerned. Like
yeah,
it, it's there to sort of take up orders and die, and it's only better at that. It's not
yeah,
like a sort of Tiger where they've like nerfed it into the ground and you know it's sort of now not worth taking. You still definitely want to take it.
yeah. And for listeners that don't know about the weird interaction between dogged and remote presence, it means that if in one order you take 2 wounds, you can go take a wound, go unconscious, enter second level of conscious, and trigger dogged at that point. So it means that to take them out in one go, you need to do 3 wounds right off the bat. Otherwise, they can use dogged and stay up. So it is handy. They get 2 M drones, they get 1 Q drone. The big one is they only get 1 R drone,
Hmm.
and then they get 1 T drone. I'll just jump ahead. So those are the just the basic guys, and then we can go back to the cool, interesting ones, which I just mentioned before. First is
Yeah.
the Sartroid Puzzler. So these two, the Sartroid Puzzler and the Ranter, the next two things are the two new Cyberplug units. So these are kind of super peripheral servants. So you can engineer and doctor through them. You can have either Cyberplug units or a servant. You can't do like one puzzler, one slave drone.
Hmm.
Um, but on top of being able to doctor and heal through them, they also get to fight. Um, they have connected profile and they have a autonomous profile. Your controller gets to decide which one is connected, and as long as the controller doesn't do anything, so you can spend orders on the controller to then activate a Sartroid in their connected form, or you can spend an order on the Sartroid, in which case you're only using the autonomous profile. Arrow is kind of similar. If the, the connected profile you can use, but then if the doctor or engineer that's connected also is doing an arrow, then you switch to being autonomous. So it's
Hmm.
kind of a bit of a balance, and we'll see what they do. So the puzzler, this is kind of the cheaper one. This is kind of the more hidden guy.
Yeah.
So the connect profile is a whopping 8-2 move, CC 15, BS of 12, Fizz 10, Whip 12, Arm 3, BTS 6 with 1 structure, and these are Silhouette 5. You get dodge plus 3, so these guys get pretty dodgy on a 13. They get to dodge 2 inches, so they could move 8-4 if you want. Infiltration Fizz equals 12, which means you can over infiltrate on a 9. Mimetism minus 3, and then Cyberplug, as we said, and then Surprise Attack minus 6, because Surprise Attack minus
Because
6
why
is
not?
not just for the Elite HI anymore.
Nope.
Now, this little
No.
12 or
Be a
13
cheap
point
ass
robot has
robot.
it. Yeah. When you go to autonomous, you drop to 6-4 move, your CC drops to 12, your BS drops to 10, and your Fizz drops to 9, and your Whip drops to 11. Everything else stays the same, and you keep all the same skills. So very interesting profile. They're fair, like they're one structure. They don't notably have remote presence, so they do only have the one level of unconscious. But otherwise, they're just kind of weird. They aren't the good best at shooting. They don't have high fizz. They have decent arm and BTS. They have that crazy fast move, so they're cool. And let's look at their profiles. So there's two. There's a 13-point profile where you get camo one use, adhesive launcher rifle, emerat, and deployable repeater with a stun pistol plus burst and para CCW minus
Minus
6.
six. It's pretty good.
Yeah, which matters because paired with surprise attack, that is a minus 12.
Yeah. Not nothing.
And even if they have plus range as if they shoot you on the way in, you have minus 3, so you can actually still be hitting people in neg 12. You only have CC 15, but hey, sometimes you just gotta try and taser stick someone. And
Yeah.
then the profile that I love, and it seems to be the most popular in a lot of lists, is the puzzler with hidden deployment. It doesn't have marks, just hidden deployment. It has an acrylate cannon, an emerat deployable repeater, and the same stun pistol and periculous combat weapon. Essentially, you trade the adhesive launcher rifle and a one-use camo for hidden deployment and an acrylate cannon. This guy is obnoxious, is what I've learned. I don't think I didn't. I
Yeah.
tried it, being like, oh, this is kind of neat. Let's see what this is like. This guy is just annoying. Uh, if you kill it, it doesn't affect your opponent's order pool. You can just have these
Mm.
guys hidden in the midfield and a path your opponent's going to walk through, usually with something big and scary that doesn't like Emerat. These guys are a lot less valuable against Morats, but and then your opponent walks by and you're like, cool, I Emerat you, and they're like, well, now they have to dodge. If you're in a place
Yeah.
where they can't just shoot you, next order maybe they shoot you, you can be like, okay, fine, I'm just there to waste orders. I'll put down a repeater. So now if you activate that guy again, okay, cool. Now my hackers are gonna hack you, right? Like they're just like the nightmare of any vehicle or tag or HI that's trying to push
Mm.
up. Um, so
I
like
I even like the acrylic cannon. Like if you've got like a lateral line across your, like an ARO line across the table, like laterally as opposed to vertically, then the acrylic cannon can just be a great thing to stop an advance.
hmm
Someone coming forward, they don't know you have that piece there. Okay, it's only BS12, so of course you're not shooting at things with mimetism and stuff, but you could shoot, well, so many things, an HI or anything that's coming towards you. Obviously, it would be nice to EMA at them, but if you can't, you have this HMG range band adhesive launcher, which is
yeah.
also very nice.
Well, and
Like
also
stopper.
they your opponent might be double moving. They might be out of cover, so that 12 is
Yeah,
now, if you can get 15, that's pretty good. I
absolutely.
definitely think the hidden deployment's where you go.
Mm,
Uh, Mainly because you don't really have other camo in the midfield, so you definitely don't have any other silhouette 5 camo in the midfield, so your opponent
no.
knows what that camouflage marker is, which takes away, I think, a lot of the value of the haha surprise Emerat. So these guys are
Yeah.
cool. I've been finding points for one. I have a couple lists where there's actually two of them. It is a decision because that's an extra 12 points not going towards order generating armors. Uh, but they can actually end up providing a decent amount of midfield, just like delay, especially when you're going second. And there's a lot of missions this season that going second's what you kind of want to do. So being
Mm,
able to have two of these guys just delay that push into you can be quite handy.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, these are the things that excite me about this faction. Like, obviously, Achilles is cool and the tag is really cool, but these kind of some new idea, and they've got these new kinds of profiles, which it just takes a minute to get your head around what it is they can do. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
will become more and more apparent as time goes on and more people play with the faction, just how interesting and powerful these pieces can be.
Yeah. And moving on to their more shooty brothers, the Ranters. Uh, these guys are 6'4 move, CC 16, BS 13, Fizz 12, Whip 12, same ARM 3, BTS 6 structure, one structure in Solo 5. When they go to autonomous, they stay the same speed. They go down to 12 CC, go down to 11 BS, 11 Fizz, and 11 Whip. So these guys, and because these guys are the shooty ones, we didn't say it with the puzzlers, but realistically, not being the active profile, when your main thing is a Emerat, your
Yeah.
BS dropping doesn't really matter. But for these guys, it does. They have ECM Hacker minus 3, dodge plus 2 inches, forward deployment 4 inches, MIM 6. And then these guys are kind of your shooters, right? So there's a Mark 12 with a boarding pistol, there's a Spitfire with a boarding pistol, and then there's an SMG Thunderbolt with a boarding pistol. So, and the Mark 12 is 18 points, Spitfire is 19, and then that's SMG is only 12, which is kind of nice.
Mm.
Kind of cheap. If you like, realistically, this guy kind of starts forward. It's pretty easy to move him up and then end him in suppressive with the MIM 6 in like a nice little place. And again, these guys don't hurt your order pool when they die, so they're just being a delay tactic. They're
Yeah.
expendable gunners.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, obviously has ECM hacker -3, which is nice. It might keep them going for an order or two at the very most. But with Whip 12, they're not going to win those face to faces very often.
No.
Um, so yeah, you're kind of throwing it forward, and even it might even get isolated and immobilized and that kind of thing. But I think if you spent even the top end 19 points and one SWC on a Spitfire, and maybe you've shot one or two things, you might not have even done any damage, but you've put this really. I think another element we haven't talked about too much is the Silhouette 5. You put this big model right in the path of an objective or whatever. Like it's not uncommon to have a table where an S5 silhouette will block an entire pathway somewhere. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
only like it has to, they have to kill it, but they have to also remove the model from the table in order to actually be able to progress through wherever that piece might be standing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
I like both of these a lot, and I find myself really flip flopping backwards and forwards between which one I prefer the most because the HD one is very cool, but these ones are also really cool. Yeah, I'm very impressed by these profiles.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard some people talk about put the hidden deployment guy along the line of where this guy's gonna push, so that something tries to get towards him or things like that, or just to emer at something on the way and clear it for this guy to push up.
Mm, nice. Yeah.
Okay. Last remote worth talking about is the faction does get two Unidrons. They are linkable in the control fire team. I'm not a big fan of control
Yeah.
fire team, but these guys are fine. They're kind of cheap, but
They're okay. They're like much worse bikinis, but with slightly better guns, you might say.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. They have dogged, which is not like you can do the plasma sniper thing if you want. I just feel like if you're leading to these guys or like the Nexus who has Unidron keyword, I just you're starting to play too much Onyxy. I think these guys are
Mm,
really in here more for the fluff of, oh look, these are the guys that the the combined army, those the or hegemony guys or whatever the Nexus is, are like, okay, here as we're helping equip you because you don't like the Shaz and the Morats. Here we'll give you some of our robots and the Nexus to kind of keep an eye on you and see how you're doing.
mm. Yeah, it's
But
again, yeah, as you say, it's a cute kind of lore thing, but yeah, you could do this so much better if you just played on its contact force.
yeah,
Um, might be fun to play around a little bit if you have the models, um, but otherwise, I can't envisage a situation where I'd want to use these.
yeah, yeah. If they had been able to link with more different things, maybe, but as is, they're pretty limited on who they can go with. So moving quickly on to the one skirmisher unit, the Contrabandolero. This is a CC Move 44, CC16, BS12, Fizz 11, Whip 13, Arm 1, BTS 3, 1 Beta 6, sorry, 2 Silhouette, Camo Infiltrator. So they have Camo, they have Dodge plus 3, which is nice because Dodge on 14s for a guy that's hanging out in the midfield is where all those mines are, can actually be quite handy, or even just guys
Yeah.
with templates. Hidden deployment, MIM minus 3. So this is one of those MIM 3 hidden deployment guys. Infiltration Fizz equals 16, which means you get to over infiltrate on a 13 if you want. Stealth, surprise attack minus 3, and terrain total. So their profile is cool. Like I like the idea of another hidden deployment guy. Um,
Mm.
I don't like risking going over, but if you really want to, there are reasons in their profiles that you might want to. Having that as an option is nice. It also means that I'm pretty sure it means I need to double check. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. We don't have biotech or anything like that where you have confused
No.
deployment. But in the world of confused deployment, I think it helps with that, but I can't remember, and it doesn't matter because we don't have those this season.
Is it
Um,
what's the one crossing lines? There is like dead zones that you can't deploy, but
you,
then you can just deploy
you
it in your deployment zone that's on the other line.
Yeah, there's no place for you to actually go. There you got
Mm.
infiltration actually does nothing in that mission because there's no zone outside of deployment zones you can deploy in. Um, Going through profiles, They range from 26 to 29 points, with the 26-point profiles being a mine layer with SMG, Zapper, and shock mines, or a forward observer with a boarding shotgun, Zapper, flashballs, and decharges. So that's pretty good for classifieds.
Yeah.
Being able to do the forward observer ones, the spotlight ones, and the decharge one, which is not bad. Moving
Yeah.
up, you have a 27-point killer hacker with SMG, Zapper, and decharges. So again, a decent number of classifieds, which is always good. For 29 points, you have a hacker with SMG, Zapper, and decharges. So that guy's probably one of your better classified doers in the faction. And
Yeah.
then
Sure.
you have a 29 point, just the basic guy with combi rifle, Zapper, and paramine, which paramines are cool. Paramines are good. I don't
Yeah.
think if I'm spending 29 points, I'm want at least him to be a specialist. But
Yeah.
uh,
I do like the combi rifle. It reminds me a little bit of the Naga in OSS, that they have some combi rifle profiles. That's quite rare weapon nowadays for a skirmisher.
mm-hmm,
Being able to reach out past 8 inches at good range bands is nice. But to your point, I think for 29 points, it's maybe a bit of a luxury piece. Although I do like the paramines as well.
yeah,
Um, these profiles, they're sort of good. They're good. I don't. They don't. Unlike some of the other ones that we talked about that are quite exciting and interesting. These are. They feel good. They feel solid. They're not like changing the world, but they're just a
mm-hmm,
piece that you want to have. I think that hacker, probably to your point about like classifieds in I don't know, axial interference or something, you can just pop out of hidden deployment and do all of your classifieds,
mm-hmm,
and you'd be happy with that, yeah, it's like I was mentioning about in the previous episode, talking about Chusa and how it's a very straightforward profile. Not all of them have to be interesting and exciting, and it feels like it fits in that category as well. It does a job, it does it well, and that's all you really need.
yeah. I have been. I do have. I know I've been. I modifying one list over and over, and I have put the killer hacker in now, mainly just because I've been finding I want a killer hacker. Um, it's something I've been
Yeah,
finding I've kind of wanted a bunch, so I think they're a decent one and being hidden. You know, you can have the drop troop one, but then if you really need that, if someone enters your hacking net thinking, okay, I can deal with your two other hackers, it's handy to be able to say, oh wait, actually I do have a killer hacker on the board, rather than okay, he'll come in after the other hackers are dead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair.
um, Moving on to the two warbands, also known as the dinosaurs. These are the two tech dragons. We'll start with the Blackheart, who I love, and my locals have already started being very annoyed by. 6-4 move, irregular, CC 17, BS 13, Fizz 12, Whip 13, Arm 2, BTS 3, 2 Vita, and Silhouette 5. You can bring up to 4 of them. There is a Whoops All Dinosaurs list where you bring 4 Blackhearts and 4 Steeljaws. It's probably not good, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like when I first saw them, I'm like, obviously you need to make an all dinosaur list.
Of course.
It's not as bad as you'd think it would be. It's just probably not the best. They have Beast Attack plus Burst, Discover plus 3, Dodge 2 inches, Immunity to Critical, which is nice, Mimetism minus 3, Religious, Techno-Organic, and Train total. Which, saying that out loud, I realize there's actually a decent amount of Train total in this
Mm,
faction, which is kind of nice. It's nice being able to just get around faster. We don't have all the auto terrain zones, but for people that still play with difficult terrain, it does matter.
yeah.
These guys we'll see are the shooty tech dragons. I actually have been enjoying having them a little bit of an ARL. We'll see that in their profiles. So for 25 points, you get a contender, Panzerfaust, Emerat, and a viral mine dispenser. That's why my people are getting annoyed. Viral mine dispensers are nasty.
Yeah.
For 27 points, you upgrade that contender to a plasma carbine. Again, remembering that it is +1 burst, so these are both effectively burst 3 weapons, not burst 2. And then you have a 29-point multi marksman rifle Panzerfaust Emerat profile, and a 29-point Thunderbolt AP, EM carbine, and Panzerfaust, and an Emerat. And then all the profiles have a AP heavy pistol and a uh, PS4 CCW. So these are all pretty cool. Um,
Mm.
I've definitely been leaning towards the two viral mind dispensers because a BS13 viral mind dispenser in a faction where it's very easy to just have an Echidron nearby that you're reloading.
Yeah.
You can just put mines everywhere, and like mine dispensers are all right. People always talk about how annoying it is someone shoot a mine dispenser, then you take the arrow, and now, you know, that guy needs to decide because if he reacts, the mine splashes the whole fire team behind him, things like that.
Yeah.
The amount of things that can just ignore or are much more comfortable just being like, I'll take a shock mine versus there's very few things that are like, yeah, it's fine, it's a viral mine. Like even HI, two-maned HI that's BTS 6,
Oh yeah.
it's still two saves, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Oh, for
even if
sure. For real.
it picks away. Panzerfaust is nice for those longer range arrows. Emerats are nice when people getting close, or if this guy just runs up because he's 6'4", he can just sprint in and be like, cool, Emerat that way, because it's plus burst on all of his guns, and just be like, cool. I hope you're
Yeah.
dodging,
Yeah.
because if not, just isolate your whole team. Now you're playing in Super Lost Lieutenant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Contenders are nasty. Plasma Carbine's all obviously nice if you have the 2 points because plasma's plasma. Um, yeah, I don't know if you have thoughts
Yeah.
about
I
anything
do. I
else.
mean, I really just want to reiterate what you were saying. I think they're fantastic. Probably my favorite is the sort of basic contender Panzerfaust one. Again, as you say, because of the Mind Dispenser. Um, and I just contend is quite a good backup aero weapon. You know, once you've run out of your Panzerfaust, keep going with that one if you want.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they all have something to recommend them. Like even the Thunderbolt one, which didn't initially excite me, but an AP Thunderbolt again is is legitimately dangerous to a lot of things. So yeah, again, like with the Sartroid, the Tech Dragons are some of the more exciting parts of the faction, and this really illustrates it because every weapon loadout feels valuable or useful. Like you would want to try it at the very least,
Hmm.
if not use it regularly. The only thing that annoys me, and this is the general point about this immunity, which is immunity is critical, which is something I always forget. I have some units that have it, and I always forget it as like a thing that exists. Oh, I got crit. Oh well, 2 saves. No. Um, but yeah, it obviously it's a benefit. But yeah, can't say anything against these really. I think they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think the Thunderbolt one is if you're really being like, I want this guy to be an arrow guy. I think it's
Mm.
probably your best because it's really good range on the Thunderbolt, EM carbine to deal with like bigger things that are coming in. But yeah, I think it's the contender unless you have the points and want the plasma carbine. You lose a bit of the range on the plasma carbine, but if you're planning to use this guy a bit more actively,
Mm.
plasma carbine definitely does more damage
Yeah,
usually.
I think there is my temptation, and see it in the list is was with these to be an ARO piece specifically,
Hmm.
because the faction does lack a little bit for strong, sort of stable arrows, if you like, you know, V2 arm, whatever, like something that can take a hit or two. This is about as good as it gets in the faction, which is not amazing. However, as you say, 6'4" move, dodge plus 2 inches. Like you don't have to play them like that. They're really very swingy in the sense of what you can ask them to do,
Yeah.
which again is only in their benefit, really.
Hmm. Okay, moving on to the Steel Jaws. So this is the close combat tech dragon. Still 6'4" move, but now CC 23, only BS 10, Fizz 13, Whip 13, Arm 2, BTS 3, 2 Vita, and the same structure, sorry, Silhouette 5. They have CC attack AP, which pairs with their PS4 viral CCW, which is just gross.
Yeah,
Climbing plus, dodge plus 2 inches, dodge minus 3, immunity critical, martial arts 2, mimetism, religious, techno organic, and dream total. Um, these guys are also regular. They're 18 or 19 points. For 18 points, you get a sensor, flashballs, grenades, and viral mines. For 19 points, you trade the sensor and the viral mine for an armed turret with a combi rifle, which is worse. And then both profiles have a boarding pistol and that viral CCW we talked about. So I'm not a fan of the armed turret one anymore. If this was beginning of N5, I'd be all over it,
Mm,
just running around
of
throwing out
course.
turrets constantly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, and but I think the battle mine's kind of nice. Sensor's also really handy. Just find those hidden
Yeah.
guys. But yeah, this guy's
Yeah.
kind
And
of like a skirmishy
for a piece
warband.
like it is with the sensor and the grenades and the boarding pistol and the viral CCW, like those sort of four little elements combined, or five little elements combined, just mean you can go into the midfield and just, you know, if you're facing a big sort of Ariadne and camo field, it's really not a problem. Like not a problem at all. You just reveal a bunch of it, chuck some grenades, lay a template, CC if you have to, and it's got a good chance of fighting any of the sort of camo CC guys that Ariadne has. But yeah, really solid piece.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. They're cheaper. Just kind of run along with guys, being kind of utility, especially in those fire teams. If you don't necessarily have, somebody that can actually CC well, right? Like if you're bringing a Drakios or, um, I think these guys can go with Iron Sides. If you really wanted to have them run around, I know, I can't remember, one of the podcasts was talking about liking running one of these with their tag just to give it some more little guy CC or someone that can run out because these guys aren't hackable to just deal with repeaters, things like that. So they're cool.
Yeah.
And the final profile or unit, the Skyhound. This is the combined armies flyer or vehicle. So it's an A2 move, but it's really 11-2 because of the super jump of 3 inches. BS of 14, so it's the highest end of BS for the vehicles. Fizz 13, Whip 13, Arm 4, BTS 6, 2 structure, and a silhouette of 7. Has aerial, super jump 3, super jump jet propulsion, and tech recovery, so all the flyer vehicle things. Then it has discover plus 6, so it's really good at discovering things. Dodge minus 3, gizmo kit of 14, which is pretty good. You're pretty
Good.
reliable in
Yeah,
repairing it. Mim
definitely.
6, no cover, remote presence, tech recovery, I already said, and yeah, train total. So pretty standard in terms of the skills for the flyer. The only one really exciting there is Discover plus 6, and its Gizmo kit is higher than a lot of them. I think a lot of them are normally Fizz 12 with a Gizmo kit of 13. So this
Mm.
guy's kind of just one better, which is a big deal. Um, then you have two profiles. You have a X Visor multi rifle plus one burst, Flamen Spear, and a mine dispenser, a shock mines, for 31 points, or for 33 points, you get a BS attack plus burst, plasma carbine, AP Thunderbolt, and a mine dispenser. So these are both pretty cool. Mine dispensers, again, this faction puts out a lot of mines and at range, which is BS14 mine dispenser is really good, especially on that X Visor profile because the the zero band for you to put out mines is, what is it like? Is it 24 or is it
24.
32?
Yeah, it's
Let's
quite far.
quickly. Yeah, it's 24. You can put them out on zeros to 24 or 11s out to 48,
Yeah. Yeah, I
which
mean
is
that's
a lot.
very reliable. Yeah. Yeah, I like these
Uh,
a lot. I find myself, again, like with so many profiles, I sort of swing back and forth in which profile I think is the best or which one I prefer.
yeah,
Obviously, a plus burst plasma carbine is great, but also a plus burst multi rifle is great. Like, you know, with both in both those instances, you can really press your kind of advantage with burst, but also with the speed they have. So if you shoot
yeah,
a mine, shoot yourself down a flank or behind a building, and then you've got a burst for AP or shock gun into whatever you're aiming at, or obviously a plasma carbine, which are, suitably dangerous.
yeah. I find myself definitely leaning towards the plasma mainly because I like having that thunderbolt for clearing distances. Also, because Thunderbolt has like Feuerbach range bands, so you can even outrange things like HMGs, and you can get
Sure.
some good angles from afar. It just helps you close the different distance. For me, the big benefit of the multi rifle is being into going into suppression at the end of the turn. Like if you aren't able to run back and
Yeah.
hide somewhere, there is a lot of value of being able to just say, cool, my Mim6 guy is now suppressing. It'll make it that much harder for you to kill because vehicles, even with Arm 4 BTS 6, is deceptive. They seem more durable than they are, but really, that's
it's really the equivalent of just having a Arm 1
Yeah.
BTS 3 guy in cover, right? Because they can't get the cover. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely been having fun with these guys. They also give me, since I find I don't obviously fit the Juggernaut into a lot of my lists, it's a lot easier to fit one of these guys in, and then I use the Juggernaut model as the Skyhound. I just imagine that
Yeah.
the Hound is jumping. He's not flying. He's just really fast and just jumping all over the place. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, they're really cool. With that, we've gone through all the profiles, so I guess we can quickly look at a couple lists quickly before you have to go and I have to get working. So,
Yeah.
uh, obligatory, we will start with the Team Achilles list, just because we need to show that you can do a Team Achilles list. I don't think it's the best because your odds are you're doing a true limited insertion, but hey, this is a true Team Achilles list that I made and think is decent. I might change the Drakios Mark 12 into a Red Fury, but it's the same point, so you can do it how you want. So you have Achilles with a plasma rifle as your lieutenant, Tusser with the Feuerbach, Drakios with the Mark 12 or Red Fury, your choice, the BS attack plus one burst Patroclus, and then a Rain Dancer with a contender, BS attack plus burst. So that's your core team. It's a 4 pure, so you get that BS 16 on Achilles. You could also break Patroclus and the Rain Dancer off to be their own like little duo.
Yeah.
They are pure, it makes the Rain Dancer still regular, so you could have that Harris and then that duo. Then you have a Harris of Pandora Chain of Command because Achilles is your lieutenant and he is running up to die. A Stinger multi-marksman with MSV2 because it's a good unit and Patrulus is bringing smoke. Blackheart Contender just to be a nice little arrow and throw out some mines, be a bit more durability. An Echidron for reloads, and then a Dr. Worm with a Slave Drone to try and heal. It's pretty straightforward, simple. You're bringing the big guys and then a couple little things added on to support them. Again, have fun with it. I don't think it's going to be an optimized
Yeah.
list,
I
but
mean, it's the kind of list where it's like I've got all my fun models. I want to put them all on the table at once. Like that's
yeah.
fine. Totally legitimate way to play.
Let's go to let's do the list you had sent first. So I have your list up that you had sent a while back. I can read it out because I don't think you can see my screen. So we have in Group 1 a Harbinger Lieutenant, a Blackheart Contender, uh, Panzerfaust, a Harbinger Mine Layer Hacker with Vulcan Shotgun, Harbinger with the AP Marksman Rifle, BS Stack plus BS Stack -3, an E drone, an R drone, that Ironside duo that you discussed, so the APHMG and the Killer Hacker, a Gearhead with a Cyber Plug. Oh, I realized this list is technically illegal because you made the same
Yes.
mistake I did
Yeah.
before.
I did.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you have an extra 4 points to play with because presumably you'll drop the Slave Drone and keep the Puzzler.
Yep.
Uh, so I'll just delete it right now. Um, and then Group 2 is a Q drone, presumably being buffed by the E drone,
Yeah.
the two Echidrons, an M drone, Glyph Warcore, and the forward deploying Rain Dancer.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is so it's a four-person core team with the Harbingers and the Blackheart in Group One, and then obviously an Ironside duo, as you mentioned. Uh, and yeah, the sort of the Blackheart is intended as the
Oh,
main aero piece along with the Q drone, and obviously you have the puzzler to be an irritant wherever it goes. And then there's a lot of deployment zone defense in this, I think, with the two Ictrons. You've got obviously the Enviromine dispenser that you can use, but also you've still got an EM mine out. So I feel
mm-hmm.
like that core team with the lieutenant, although the lieutenant is very obvious, it's very
Yeah,
well defended.
that's fine.
Um, yeah,
I was a
and
long time Wallace enjoyer. Who needs to
yeah,
hide who your lieutenant is? Here, we have an
exactly.
extra 4 points for you, so I'm gonna change the Glyph Warcore for you
Oh, thank
into
you.
it'll be a Satcha,
Nice,
because
better. Yeah, that's better.
and then you'd have 2 points to play with somewhere else if you. Oh, actually, do you want? We could keep it the same. Your M drone is oh no, already is tack aware. Never mind.
Yeah,
You have 2 points. You can figure
yeah,
out something. You
yeah. I'd
could
work something
consider
out there.
upgrading the Blackheart if you want to the plasma. If you're
Yeah,
using it
I'd
primarily,
probably,
I,
I'd probably
I
just do that. Actually. That sounds like a perfect way to resolve that.
there we go.
Um,
New list.
yeah. And so yeah, and then in group two, you've also got a Q drone doing aero and potentially active. gunfighting. A couple of
Mhm.
Icadrons, the M drone. I really like the Takaware sensor bots, and the M drone is just great because it's got that ridiculous like suite of equipment that somehow no one else has. With the oh no, I was thinking of a different one. So I thought for some reason I had it in my mind that it had uh gosh, what's it called? The the thing that you don't need cover for. You get no
Oh, you're
cover.
thinking of Shaz Vasti. In Shaz Vasti, the M drone can get
Yeah,
nano screen.
yes,
I'm
they do.
surprised.
Yeah.
I always think I make the mistake. I always think that they have climbing plus, which apparently they don't. I
No,
think
that's Aleph. They have those on. They have climbing
yeah,
plus on
I
there.
love in
Yeah.
O12 have climbing plus. I think
Yeah.
nomads, but yeah.
But even so, it's a very useful piece.
Mhm.
And yeah, the really the star of the show. I think this second group is really kind of ARO, and then you have the Rain Dancer, who again is adding that extra level of defense. You've got another mine out, so you've got a couple of mines wherever they need to be, important places.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just such a dangerous piece by itself. You sort of you can use those five, 6 orders and just go and kill some stuff and be an irritant. And yeah, it's a very, very decent piece. We talked at length about those guys in the previous episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is kind of my take of the sort of non-heroes list. Like, there's not a single character in it.
Yep.
You're really incentivized to take characters, but I don't think you have to. And I'd like to think this shows that you can do it in a useful and constructive way that that feels like it can reasonably have a chance of doing something
Yeah.
and being competitive. So that was the plan behind this list.
Yeah. I think it works. And then we can move to the more mix of heroes and non-heroes. So this is a list that has had a number of different versions for me. So walking through it, Group 1 is the Skyhound with the Plasma Carbine. Then you have a Medtech Obsidian with 2 puzzlers. Um, Realistically, I'm starting to prep for a satellite. Axial interference is in there. Otherwise, this would probably just be a what's it called? It might just be a gearhead and this issue
Hmm.
having a doctor. But I want it, so want all the classified covered. So Medtech
Yeah,
with two
fair.
puzzlers because double's funny. We have a duo of Patroclus with the heavy rocket launcher plus and BS attack plus burst and a contender rain dancer. Then we have a Harris of Harbingers, BS attack -3 Harbinger, Hacker Harbinger, Lieutenant Harbinger, an Echidron, and a Sacha. Then in group 2 we have Pandora, an MSV2 Stinger. Again, because we have that Patroclus, we want to use it. Have some MSV, and the Stinger is really good. Plasma Carbine, Blackheart, an Echidron, and an R drone. Um, I have had thoughts with this list of just dropping the. Actually, I think I have a later version of this where I actually drop the chain of command on Pandora to give her medkits. Um,
Mm.
it,
Yeah,
it
sensible.
it's back and forth on it. Like realistically, is how afraid are you of your opponent running through everything to kill your Harbinger Lieutenant? It is an
Mm.
obvious Lieutenant. You have a lot of good backfield defense, but there are armies that bring impersonators. Just
Yeah.
pretty much it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean that was my rationale with my list as well. Was like you've got plenty of deployment zone defense if you really want it. Um, and if you're playing Acula Interference, you know, in the times I've played it, I've not found that making a run on a lieutenant is really that
Mm,
interesting, unless you have literally taken like a deployment zone parachutist or something, and you're dead set on doing that as a strategy. But you've got to score those classified points, so it doesn't feel like it's something worth spending the time on unless someone makes like an obvious deployment zone error and you just feel you have to exploit it. Um, and you've got to back yourself to not make those mistakes, right?
yeah. So here I'm just gonna quickly live making changes. If I downgrade Pandora to just having medkits, which is also nice because it means that if the doctor's not near and she's running up with the Stinger and her Blackheart, she can pump them full of medkits, right?
Mm.
Stinger is
Yeah.
only Fizz 10, but two med kits. If you can land both shots, it's not terrible. The Blackheart, if the Stinger's still up, now you have a higher chance of getting two, and then the Blackheart has better fizz, so it's pretty good. But essentially, what this does is by turning her into med kits, making the Blackheart a contender instead of the Plasma, it does let you fit in a Glyph War Core. Whether that regular order is better than a Plasma is to be seen.
Yeah.
You know, there's
I
value in
suppose,
there's value in your opponent being like, oh, do they have a drop tube? Do they have a hidden deployment guy? But they also are in a unique position where you can double psych out your opponent because you have those puzzlers, right? Puzzlers are hidden deployment, but they don't take up a slot.
yeah,
So opponents that aren't, especially since they're newer, a lot of people
yeah,
haven't at this point faced them. People might do the count and be like, oh, you have 15 models on the board, so you don't have hidden deployment. And then now
yeah.
they walk up, get hit by a puzzler, and they're like, oh, I did not see that coming. They finally deal with the puzzler, and then they walk up again and get hit by the second puzzler, and then they flip the table and
Yeah.
and they walk away.
And no one plays against you for the rest of the year.
You win by
I think that's
concession.
yeah. I think that's. I mean, yeah. Now that the faction is so new, I think that's definitely worth doing at least once just to try it and see if it works. I think anyone plugged in who's been paying attention for this release, even if you've got 15 orders, even if you've got 14 and or even 13, and it's like okay, maybe there's like a cliff jumper and something else,
Yeah,
but you could just fake it out and say, well, I've spent loads of points on the things that are on the table, and I have two other things. There are 15 bodies on the table, or there will be once these two things reveal. So there's so many ways that you can sort of mess with people in that respect. And yeah, it's fun. I'd even probably enjoy it happening to me. You're sort of like, oh, I think everything's fine. It's like, oh no, hidden Emarat. That's
yeah.
that's what good games are made of, is stuff like that.
Um, the other thing that the other change instead of putting the glyph in is, and I've seen some people doing this, is running the rain dancer with Patroclus, changing his contender to a red fury. Um, I keep on leaning towards the contender just because I like contenders are scary to me. T2 ammo
T2 is good.
does one get
Yeah.
through, but you get the extra burst from the red fury. It does also mean that should Patroclus die and the rain dancer is by himself, now the rain dancer has the ability to suppress, and they get pretty scary when they're suppressing. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, min
it's
minus six with a suppressive weapon is unpleasant to play into if you don't have the right kit. Even if you do have the right kit, still you're still facing three shots, so it's yeah, not nice.
yeah, it also would give the list a high burst weapon because right now the list doesn't actually have a gun with burst better than three, but
Yeah, I'm finding not just in this faction, but in lots of factions, it's quite easy now to. I find myself anyway. Maybe it's the list, the missions that are available in this packet, but I find myself not reaching immediately for an HMG or so, unless I'm taking a tag. But it's quite easy to be like, okay, oh, I've got some SWC left over. Maybe I can rework this a bit to bring an SWC weapon. But
mhm,
there's like a lot of like Akil Experience is a great example where it's like this is a classifieds mission. I don't necessarily need a big gun to win it. Um, I mean, obviously this faction is blessed with some decent weapons, so it's not like you're hurting for it. But also sometimes feels like you don't necessarily need it.
yeah, cool. I think we've gone through everything, and I won't delete this episode, so people will be actually hearing it. Um, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off? Any final thoughts?
Just briefly, that I was not sold on Next Wave. I think I might have said it in the previous episode. The concept I didn't love, but with the release of the actual profiles and the miniatures, I realized I should have always trusted in Corvus Belli. they know me. They know what I want really, and it is dinosaurs and robots and all that fun stuff. And I continue to be impressed by their faction design, the game design. Uh, it's it's uh, it's really good. I'm impressed by Next Wave. I won't be getting it, but not because I don't like it or I don't want to play it, just because I don't have the time and money to invest in another faction. But for those of you out there who are interested, I think jump in with both feet. It's a very interesting, exciting faction, and I think you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I agree. They've been one of the more interesting factions to list build for in recent
Mm.
times. Um, they could have easily made these guys overtuned with a few tricks, but I think they did a really good job in terms of their design, making a lot of interesting profiles, and then also um, putting brakes on the faction, primarily in terms of lack of super cheap troops, to make it so you really are making list decisions. Like you really need to make choices about which cool things you're bringing each time, which is interesting and cool. But
Yeah.
go out there, try to build lists. If people say they're too powerful, just looking at the profiles, tell people to actually make lists, and then they'll realize, oh wait, I can't actually bring all those cool things. But I think that's it. We hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, this has been the Whip 12 pod video cast. Need to figure out how we say that now.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.